Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to I Support Your Business. I am here today with the fabulous Cheryl, who is my support team today, and with Susman Rajan, who is in India right now. And it is 6:30 in the morning his time. So yay for him for getting up so early to be with us. So thank you very much, Susman. Have you got anything you'd like to start by saying?
Thank you, Alex, and thank you, Cheryl, for having me here. It's a wonderful opportunity, and it's a great platform for us to be here and get speak to you today. So I'm really excited and looking forward to it.
Okay. Now, the whole system is I ask Susman 3 questions. He's given me the questions in advance, so there's no surprise for him in it. But then he gets to tell us how he's a hero in his business. So we're going to start with your first question on your list, which is, what does your business do and how do you help people?
So, Alex, basically, I'll tell you a little bit about the business first, and then we'll see what our key objective is and how we help. So basically, uh, CasaMed is a pain management platform. So by pain management, I mean that there are about, as per WHO, there are about 1.8 billion people today, or that is almost 1/4 of the world population that is struggling with musculoskeletal disorders. And they have some form of a muscle or joint pain, which they have been struggling with for a while now. There have been huge advancements in medical technology. Everything which is happening, healthcare has been changing over time, but still there is the number of cases who are the people who are struggling with such problems keep on increasing. So when we look deeper into this, the problem that we try to identify is not just that there are not enough solutions available, but the core fundamental at the root cause was basically that most of the time people delay in seeking treatment. Second, once they even seek treatment, they seek medical help, they find it very difficult to adhere to the treatment and continue with it for as long as it should be, or as it is recommended by their physician or the orthopedic surgeon or whoever they are consulting, their doctor, if I can say. So since they're not able to adhere to that problem, we wanted to build a platform which does not provide them all the tools, but also provide them continuous motivation to ensure that they can continue with the treatment. So that is simple, acute pain doesn't transform into a chronic condition. So that is the core problem that we are trying to fix through behavioral change, that people continue and adhere to the treatment protocols which their doctors have recommended them. So that is the primary objective that we are doing. Now, there are if you actually look into the entire pain care spectrum or the treatment which happens, there are 3 stages or phases, I would say. It's not that in a chronological order, one comes after the other. Some of the times there are an overlap between different stages and all that. So first is the assessment or the diagnostic phase, which happens wherein patients are not quite aware about their problem. They meet doctors, they consult various medical experts who evaluate their condition, go through their medical history, come up with a prognosis, diagnosis, whatever they believe, and then they start their treatment. Second stage is the treatment, which undergoes. And then the third aspect comes monitoring and feedback, which is equally important as assessment, right diagnosis and right treatment. So up until now, if you look around, if you look at all the healthcare systems which are in place, most of the work which is going around is having a good diagnosis. And with time, that has also been changing. That treatment has become taking much more higher priority at the moment, because that is the only cash churning phenomena, or that is the only that because people also seek instant gratification. They are not looking for sustainable solutions, long-term treatment protocols. They are looking for something wherein they just get rid of the pain immediately, which is quite obvious. Nobody wants to live in pain, and then when you are in pain, you keep doing tasks which are very difficult. So it's easier. It's an option which they want to seek, and that is the option which they are being provided with. But what we are trying to do differently is that your assessment would equally be important. And it's not just that the doctors or the medical experts would play a part. You have to play an equal part and own that this is you should be equally aware that this is the problem which I have, and this is the root cause. You should be understanding that being a patient, I am suffering with a condition, I should be knowing why it's happening, not just what is happening, but why it's happening, and what changes should I bring about in my life that I can cut down the trigger phenomena and everything. So, assessment being a part, the patient can play a role along with the doctor, that becomes important. That is what we are trying to bring in. Treatment, again, everybody has to be involved. There has to be more transparency in the system. People should be aware of what is the treatment which is happening, why is it happening, what are the expected changes. And if there are so many matrices that we are observing, that then the third part becomes even more relevant, which is currently non-existent in the entire healthcare system, is that monitoring, something which the
Yes.
doctors keep on doing. And it's like, if a patient has visited doctor, until they follow up, there isn't a continuous connect. So most of the time, the follow up is entirely, if it happens, sometimes it happens, but ensure that there is a continuous follow up. There's a 24/7 monitoring. There's a real time change course correction, which if it's needed, it should be there. So that is what we are trying to build in, so that everybody is proactively trying to manage the problem in the best possible way, and ensure that the patient is fully recovered by the end of their journey. And so these are the three key aspects that we are trying to activate and optimize, so that the pain care, which has been, the pain which has been existing in the form which is it today, it doesn't exist in the similar form in the future. We are trying to eliminate that entire pain. Uh, change the way pain care is happening. So,
Mm. Hmm. Interesting. Well, and I totally agree with you. Certainly my experience of doctors is they give you pills and send you away.
So, as I told you, it's most of the time it's because that is something what the patients also want, that
Yeah.
we want our pain to be gone. And when we go
Sure.
and ask the doctor that, um, uh, and most of the time we are not even satisfied with that. So, I being a patient, if I visit a doctor and I ask them for a pain remedy, they prescribe certain pharmaceutical, and I just take those medicines. Probably I go visit them. A week later, if I'm not seeing any difference, I would definitely be looking for other options. I'll go to
Yeah.
another doctor and say that I had visited this doctor, so and so, and in a week it doesn't show too much of effect. And that is what even doctors realize, that they are losing patients because of that. There's a loss of business. So even for them, it becomes sort of a problem. So they also finding out solutions how they can instantly resolve the issue. If it is not manageable with pharmacological intervention, they even start suggesting surgical intervention, wherein probably surgeries would help manage the pain better. So,
Mm.
but the time that they need to probably correctly diagnose, and the patient has to be with in that journey, that is something that is losing its sheen, and that is not staying relevant anymore. It's more like we are starting to manage symptoms from day zero, and we
Yeah.
every other symptom which appears, we probably start targeting that, prescribe pharmacies, medicines, and probably surgeries to manage those symptoms. But yes, as you rightly said, that is the practice which is evolving eventually.
So do you go visit your clients, or do you have an app, or do you have like a monitoring system where they report in every day? How do you manage that?
So it's sort of an omni-channel, Alex. Primarily, when we started, it was an app wherein the doctors could devise the treatment protocol for the patients, and the
Right.
patients will have access on that mobile app. There'd be regular check-ins, periodic feedback monitoring system, which was there through virtual calls, telemedicine platforms that we were doing it. Now we
Yes.
have most of the patients that does not serve the purpose. If you look at the treatment, it's not just exercise based or self rehab which works. Sometimes there are modalities which are required. There could be test
Yeah.
requirement. There could be shockwave diathermy, ultrasound. So for that, we have kept the physical as well as the virtual or the digital in place.
Yeah.
But the only difference which is there in our treatment protocol is that it's not objective. So it's not that patient says that I have a pain, and and they look for remedy of that pain. What we do is, if the patient comes, and whichever platform, whichever channel it comes from, their baselining will be done. So it's not just about pain, it's along with that there's range of motion, there's muscle tone, muscle strength, muscle flexibility. All these parameters are noted and they can see that on the dashboard. The patients can see it on the mobile app, the doctors will be able to see that on their web app. So it will be accessible, everybody will be informed that these are your day zero baselining. So if after a week, if you are not feeling too much of a pain relief, but you should still be able to see what is the range of motion improvement for you, for a joint, if there is any progress in that front or not, if there, what is the muscle tone improvement, what is the muscle strength improvement. So when you break down the entire pain care into these objective parameters and you evaluate that over time through visual perceptions, also patients are also feeling, have that sense that yes, I might not be into extreme pain relief, but at least I'm seeing improvement, there is progress happening, so I should continue with that. And that is how we give them smaller targets. So if it's a periarthritis or a frozen shoulder, adhesive capsulitis case, they might, and they have a restricted range of motion, about probably just 90 degrees of shoulder. So we give them smaller targets that probably from 90 to 100 you have to go. You don't have to straight away go from 90 to 120 in day one or a week. You take your time, gradual progress will be made, and then you would see the results over time that
Would it
you
be
have.
would it be fair to say that your clients are feeling more satisfied given the way that you're approaching this from a more measurement perspective?
I wouldn't just say satisfied on the client. So when we talk about the clients, they're typically, patients are definitely our end users, because we are building this entire spectrum to make their life easier. But at the same time, we are not just seeing patients' life getting easier, we are seeing doctors' life also getting easier.
Mm-hmm.
And they also benefit from it, because when patients see these smaller targets being achieved, when patients see these results showing up on their screen, they are actually motivated to put in a lot more effort towards the same direction. And because of this, the clinical outcomes, when I talk about these parameters, range of motion, muscle tone, muscle flexibility, these can be mentioned as better clinical outcomes than what was happening in the other cases. So when there are better clinical outcomes, they are more driven towards it. Obviously, there's a higher patient satisfaction. And since there is an improved patient satisfaction, higher patient satisfaction, in turn, doctors are also benefiting because their patients are retaining with them much longer. So what was usually happening is, most of the time, the patients which stays with the doctor are the surgical cases, or the patients who had to undergo surgery. Those are the long-term patients that used to be for doctors. But because of these changes, even non-surgical cases are becoming a long-term engagements for the doctors. They are also benefiting. Even patients are seeing better results. They are seeing better outcomes, and not, they don't have to undergo unnecessary surgery. And also, in the way that the transformation happens, it's not just they feel relief in the short term, but in the long term, they have also started managing the trigger factors, so that the pain doesn't come back, or there's no relapse in that pain at a later stage. And even if it comes, they are now better prepared how to manage it in the best sense.
That's great. You're getting better satisfaction and better success outcomes for both your doctors and your patients. That's wonderful.
Yes,
That's
yes.
fantastic. Yeah. Now, I have another question, because I know you're in India. Is the program you offer in India only?
No, so basically our product or the platform is available on the App Store as well as Play Store. So it's available worldwide. We are also going for FDA approval this year. So we will be applying once. After that, probably we'll be reaching out to the larger market at the moment. Currently, we have mostly Indian doctors on the panel. That is why we are serving the Indian economy. We are also building our doctor base in Canada and US. We are starting with Boston at the moment. So
Yes.
these two geographies, we are currently focusing and having more medical practitioners, healthcare providers on our platform, so that we can reach out to these audiences and serve them better.
That's amazing. Fantastic. Thank you for that. Okay, wow, and that was just the first question, Cheryl. So,
Great content to come. Wow.
all right. So the second question that Susman asked me to ask him is, what kind of client do you work with?
Yeah, so actually, Alex, I mean, as I just mentioned, basically the clients are primarily the pain care patients who have been struggling with chronic or acute pain. But at the same time, I think we are equally working with sports injury cases also, because these are the kind of patients I mean, they require high performance in their athletic lifestyle. So when they incur an injury, it becomes very critical for them to have that proper recovery, properly monitored and accurate metrics to achieve the peak performance which they need for their particular sports or their performance. So in order to ensure that, our dashboard plays a key role for them to regularly keep a touch on their matrices. What is the target that they need to achieve? Their doctors are well aware, and they are much, and they have been into an active lifestyle. So it becomes much more easier for them to continue with the treatment, and when they are continuing with it, we can continuously tweak around, ensure to, I mean, make changes so that every aspect of their recovery is taken into consideration and they can see that. So that's another client segment that we are catering to. And as I said, like, doctors have also been seeing changes. So though we treat doctors or medical experts as our partners at the moment, but seeing the kind of benefit or the results that even they are experiencing through the CasaMed platform, it's very likely. I mean, we are happy to even work with them and see them as probably a client partners who are benefiting from the entire experience. So these are the typically couple of problems that couple of clients that we are looking at. Other than that, now we are so this was the pain, and pain is not just about orthopedic pain that we have been covering. There are lots of neuro conditions because of which people have mobility disorders. So uh, most of it is not that something, there are trigger factors, or it's in that case what becomes much more relevant is to keep doing these treatment protocols, continue with that, and it's a long term engagement.
Yeah.
So in case of neuro cases, our intent or attempt is basically to provide all sorts of tools to the patients and their support system that includes their parents, the caregivers, the doctors, and they are well equipped to at least have a note. Because when you're suffering with something on a long term scale, you don't have anybody to talk to, you don't understand with which stage I am, whether I am making progress or not. The journey becomes very difficult to cope with, and you at times feel lost, dejected, and not the physical pain brings along with it a lot of psychological stress as well. So for them to cope better with it, we want to have them access. We are working with them. We are providing them these matrices, and also we are providing a lot of clinical psychologist support who can speak with them, who can understand their uh, problems and their mental state, help them guide through that journey. In a sense that you want to handhold them through that entire journey so that they don't feel lost, and they are aware of their matrices and they can continue on that path of recovery towards
So you're trying to support the whole person.
yes. So I mean, that's what we are trying to build a full stack platform where it's not just about doctors treating you and you recovering, but there is mental health also available for you to achieve. There's a nutritionist also available if you need some diet support. What are the best superfoods that you would be needing for quick recovery, proper recovery? So you get a holistic treatment for the entire pain and mobility recovery in that sense. So that has been in place. Additionally,
Excellent.
yeah, sorry, one more vertical that we have recently started working in is the neonatal cases. So there have been a lot of pregnant women. So at the end of first trimester, they are also a lot of bodily changes, hormonal changes, because of which they start experiencing a little bit of back pain and all that. So to help them, and obviously during pregnancies, pain painkillers are contraindicated, so they cannot take it most of the time. So we are trying to build an ecosystem wherein they can come, they have a safe space to probably continue with their treatment, have conversations around it, speak with like-minded other people who have been going through that journey, and then cope up through that. So I
That's
think these are
awesome.
the things we are working with largely.
That's really, really great. I know that, you said so many things that made me go, oh, there was that, and there was that. I mean, I had a frozen shoulder for 2.5 years, and it was awful. It was awful. And finally, I got treatment that worked, which was dry needling, which is it's not comfortable, but boy, did it work brilliantly. But that was after 2.5 years. And for 2.5 years, my mobility was so restricted just by not being able to move one arm. And it was my left arm. So it wasn't even the one I used for all my work. It was just there. And you don't know how much you use something until you lose it. And then you're like, oh my God, I had no idea that was so integral a part of how I do life, right? And now there's this whole chunk of life I can't do anymore. So, I mean, even washing your hair when you can't lift your arm up, it's horrible. So, yeah, so I love the idea of this. This is amazing. And, the doctor just says, well, yeah, there's not really much we can do. You just have to grin and bear it till it goes away. It's like, yeah, thanks. That's so helpful.
We now have a solution. We contact Susman.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So awesome. So the third question on the floor today, Susman, is what was the best outcome any of your clients have had? This is your time to brag. Go brag.
Actually, I wouldn't call, I would share one of the experiences that our clients have had. So, in fact, I'll share two in that sense. So, first thing, when we started long ago, not long ago, about 2 years ago, we were purely digital at that time. And gradually we expanded into that omni-channel support because we realized that there's a lot more that people need, and we have to transform what is already existing at the moment. So one of the patients who were with us, they had an osteoarthritis knee problem. They had been suffering with that for about 5 or 6 years, odd years. And they had tried a lot of different things. And when they came to us, basically they had I have tried everything, just like any other patient says, and it doesn't seem to work, and I don't have any. So they came to us probably with zero expectations because they had already seen through it all. Yes. So they just landed up on our page. They came to us. So we've started with the same basic processes that we do, that when the patient comes, we provide them a medical consultation with a super specialist. So a knee surgeon went to have a look at and they suggested them to continue with the treatment at the moment and not probably go for any joint replacement or anything as such. So they're like, fine. I had been undergoing treatment. I was looking for something more surgical approach, but I don't know how to go about it. And when the doctor went through that, recommended them to probably continue with CasaMed and design their treatment protocol on our platform. They started with it. Their first statement was, it's all virtual. So how is it going to help? I don't know, because I have been meeting doctors, seeing them undergoing treatment. So they were not expecting. So we said that you start with the journey. We will be there with you. So, and if probably after a while, if you don't feel any experience, see any experience after a week or 10 days, we can revisit this at the moment. So then he started with the treatment for about 10-15 days. He went on, same that I don't experience too much of a relief compared, because it's he had been through that pain, the treatment was going on. So it took a while for us to get into that. We used to have probably every alternate day session with him. It went on for 15-20 days. He was he needed a lot of hand holding. We continued with that journey for after 20 days. We took it to 1 month. By the end of a month, that person was like, and he had started with 10 days. So we had to a little bit push him to 20, 25 days. So by the end of 1 month, about 28 days for 4 weeks, he was like, I want to continue with it. Still don't see, know what's happening, but I am actually better informed and aware about what was wrong and what I'm doing at the moment. So he was like, I want to know more. So out of curiosity, they just extended their treatment protocol for another 3 months. And something, trust me, and this was one of the early cases that we had. And at that time, we were also looking to work with patients like these, because that gives a huge morale boost to we as well. That actually we are helping our people. It's not just a facade that we are probably creating, that we are doing things differently. So when we worked with them, when they extended for another 3 months, and we worked closely with that client for another 3 months, by the end of 3 months, they had already started. And he was a 55-year-old gentleman. He was into an active lifestyle up to his 30s. After that, he got busy with his work. He had stopped running and everything. Surprisingly, after 3 or 4 months, he was like, I have now started going out for morning walks, and he had gained that functional mobility, and he was so satisfied with that entire experience that he was like, I actually now want to get back to doing things which I was doing probably when I was 30, 35. So then we had to talk him through that, even though it's been a while and probably our bodies have changed. So we sincerely hope that we will be able to reach that stage. But I would at this moment first request you to continue taking things gradually. Give us a couple more months. Let's work with you. And I'm sure that after 6 months or 7 months, we'll be able to get back. And it didn't actually take us 6 months. By 5 months, he was into that active lifestyle to some extent. He was relieved of that pain. There, it's been around 4 months, and I spoke to that person last week, and he was like, "It's not that I haven't. The pain doesn't come back at times. The pain at times comes back, but I know how to manage it now. I know that I'm better mentally prepared to manage it. I have all the tools, and whenever I feel lost, I know that there's a place I can reach out to. So they come
Nice.
to us, they talk to somebody, and then they continue with that journey. So it's not that there are problems in life, there would be challenges that would be coming our way, but it's that we are better prepared to manage it in a better manner and then proceed. So that has been one of our clients which we have. I'm really proud of having helped him, and actually happy about how the way he's recovering.
Nice.
That is amazing. That's amazing. So, Susman, I think this is, really it's the next level of care. We all thought the doctors were the answer, but doctors are too darn busy. And I don't know whether you know about the crisis we're having in Canada with doctors right now, but it's, like so many of us right now don't have a family doctor. I haven't had a family doctor for 7 years. So, like having a support system to support doctors so that we don't actually have to get to see them as often as we did in the past because we're getting it managed elsewhere. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I love it. So the sooner you get to Canada, the better, as far as I'm concerned. So
Definitely, Alex. We are looking forward to a very actually a lot of things are in the pipeline. We are looking to get more started as soon as possible. So yeah, we are
that's
also very
awesome.
excited about
All
it.
right. Well, thank you
He's
so
on
much.
He's on his way, Alex. He's on his way.
He's on his way. That's great. So thank you very much for being interviewed today. We really appreciate it. And we will be smearing you all over social media over the next few days. So expect to hear from some people.
It will be a great opportunity. As I said, it's a great opportunity to be able to speak to you guys. It was, the experience was everything I had expected it to be and more, definitely. So
Okay,
thank
cool.
you so much, Alex, and thank you, Cheryl. It was a lovely experience, and I'm really excited.
Well,
and
thank
looking
you.
forward to it.
I hope you have a nice day today.
Sure, Alex.
And
Thank you so much.
get busy. Is it a Saturday for you, or are you on Friday? Are you behind
Sat-
us, or It's a Saturday.
Saturday,
Okay.
yes.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Susman, and stay in touch. Okay.
Definitely, Alex. I'd love to.
All right.
Thank you so much, Alex. Thank you, Cheryl.